fulfills all desires. He opens my darkened eyes, it fills my home. Minutes. By him ignorance is destroyed. Vedic scriptures sing of his character. The ocean of mercy, the friend of the poor, and the Lord and Master of devotees. O Master, be merciful unto us. 3 worlds. Take shelter of your lotus feet. Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Shri Guru Charana Padma Kevala Bhakati Sadma. Bandamoi Savadana Mate Jahara Prasade Bhai E Bhava Toriya Jai. Krishna prapti hoy jaha hoite. Guru mukha padma vakya chitte te koriya kya. Asha Shri Guru Charane Rati Eshe Uttama Gati. Eshe Uttama Gati Je Prasade Pure Sarva Asha Pure Sarva Asha Chakshudan dilo jai janme janme Prabhu se दिव्य ज्ञान हृदय प्रकाशितो प्रेमा भक्ति जहा होते अविद्या विनाशा जाते वेदे गाय जहारा चरितो Guru Karuna Sindhu Adhama Janara Bandhu Shri Guru Karuna Sindhu Adhama Janara Bandhu With Lokanath Loke Rajiva गुशुक त्रिभुवाना हे बेजाश गुशुक त्रिभुवाना शीला प्रभुपाद पतित पवना जय प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा जय नमः ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्ता स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यादेशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद
Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivijagataraja Astatara Svatasi Srimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhakti Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki, Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda ki, ISKCON founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada ki, Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki, Premjika Ho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivastava Gaura Bhaktivinoda ki, Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopinath Shyamakund Radha Kund Giri Govardhan ki, Shri Vrindavan Dham ki, Shri Mayapur Navadvip Dham ki, Shri Jagannath Puri Dham ki, Ganga Mai ki, Jamuna Mai ki, Tulsi Devi ki, Bhakti Devi ki, Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki, Brihat Madanga Transcendental Book Distribution ki, Shri Shri Radha Shamasundara ki, Shri Shri Radha Madhava ki, Shriman Mahaprabhu ki, Nitai Gaura Premanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabi Hari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabi Hari. Gopi Jana Bhalabha Girivara Dhari. Gopi Jana Bhalabha Girivara Dhari. Jasodanandana Brajajanaranjana. Jasodanandana Brajajanaranjana. Jamunatiravana Chadi. Jamunatiravana Chadi. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabi Adi. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabi Adi. Jaya Vishnupat Paramahansa Parivajakarja Astatara Satasi Srimad, His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki, Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda ki, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Gaura Premanandi. 3 verses, correct? 13, 14, 15?
14.
Which one?
14 to 16.
14 to 16. Okay. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Swaraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayat Bhagavatam 3:28, text 14. Lasat pankaja kinjalka pita kosheya vasanam Srivatsa vakshanam rajat Kaustubhamukha kandaram Lasat pankaja kinjalka Pita kosheya vasanam Srivatsa vakshanam brajat Kaustubhamukha kandaram
Dasar pankaj kinjalka Kausaya vasasam Jivasa vakshasham braja Dasar pankaj kinjalka
Lasat, shining, pankaja, of a lotus, kinjalka, filaments, pita, yellow, kosheya, silk cloth, vasanam, whose garment, Srivatsa, bearing the mark of Srivatsa, vakshanam, breast, brajat, brilliant, kaustubha, the kaustuba gem, amukta, put on, kandaram, his neck. Translation, his loins are covered by a shining cloth, yellowish like the filaments of a lotus. On his breast, he wears the mark of Srivatsa, a curl of white hair. The brilliant Kaustubha gem is suspended from his neck. Purport. The exact color of the garment of the Supreme Lord is described here as saffron yellow, just like the pollen of a lotus flower. The Kaustubha gem hanging on his chest is also described. His neck is beautifully decorated with jewels and pearls. The Lord is full of six opulences, one of which is wealth. He is very richly dressed with valuable jewels, which are not visible within this material world. Next verse. Mata Dvirepa Kalaya Paritambana Malaya Paradhyahara Valaya Kiritangada Nuparam. He also wears around his neck a garland of attractive sylvan flowers and a swarm of bees intoxicated by its delicious fragrance hums about the garland. He is further superbly adorned with a pearl necklace, a crown, and pairs of armlets, bracelets, and anklets purport. From this description, it appears that the flower garland of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is fresh. Actually, in Vaikuntha or the spiritual sky, there's nothing but freshness. Even the flowers picked from the trees and plants remain fresh, for everything in the spiritual world retains its originality and does not fade. The fragrance of the flowers picked from the trees and made into garlands does not fade, for both the trees and the flowers are spiritual. When the flower is taken from the tree, it remains the same. It does not lose its aroma. The bees are equally attracted to the flowers, whether they are on the garland or on the trees. The significance of spirituality is that everything is eternal and inexhaustible. Everything taken from everything remains everything. Or, as has been stated in the spiritual world, 1 minus 1 equals 1. The 1 plus 1 equals 1. The bees hum around the fresh flowers, and their sweet sound is enjoyed by the Lord. The Lord's bangles, necklace, crown, and anklets are bedecked with invaluable jewels. Since the jewels and pearls are spiritual, there's no material calculation of their value. Now, for materialists, it sounds like yummy. Let's go. Who wants to hang around here? Text 16, final verse. Kanchi gonulasat chronim hridayam bhoja vistaram darshani yatamam shantam mano nayana vardhanam. His loins and hips are encircled by a girdle. He stands on the lotus of his devotees' hearts. He is most charming to look at, and his serene aspect gladdens the eyes and souls of the devotees who behold him. Purport. The word darshani yatamam, which is used in this verse, means that the Lord is so beautiful that the devotee yogi does not wish to see anything else. His desire to see beautiful objects is completely satisfied by the sight of the Lord. In the material world, we want to see beauty, but the desire is never satisfied. Because of material contamination, all the propensities we feel in the material world are ever unsatisfied. But when our desires to see, hear, touch, etc. are dovetailed for the satisfaction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, they are on the level of the topmost perfection. Sounds like a contradiction. Paragraph. Although the Supreme Personality of Godhead in his eternal form is so beautiful and pleasing to the heart of the devotee, he does not attract the impersonalists who want to meditate on this impersonal aspect. Such impersonal meditation is simply a fruitless labor. The actual yogis, with half-closed eyes, fix on the form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, not upon anything void or impersonal. Prabhupada holds no punches when it comes to Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desatarine. I don't know of any confirmation, but I have always had an assumption that Prabhupada composed his prana mantra, because who was ready to compose a prana mantra for him? Not his godbrothers, and not a scholar. And what would the scholar know? So that's been my assumption. I don't know of any explicit verification of that assumption. But he certainly did it. And again, and again, and again. Why? Well, along with the other topic that was a regular punching bag for him, which is sex desire, there's very strong impediments or obstacles for making spiritual progress. And sure enough, these two, impersonalism and voidism, historically have become very popular, but there's a reason they became very popular, because people wanted them. Want spirituality without spirituality. So impersonalism, it's all one. Or all there is Brahman, and there are different versions of impersonalism, but there's not the personality. And very prevalent. Some of you have probably had the experience, I certainly have, particularly in the college circuit, particularly in, well-educated non-resident Indians who have some inclination for spirituality. They're quite familiar with impersonalism. And, less so demigod worship, more so impersonalism. And it's a stumbling block. Because when you say something that's personal, it bounces, or it doesn't go in. And then, the round and around and around, and it's, because they already have an affinity for what the spirituality that they were spoon-fed since they had interest in spirituality. They've digested, to the extent you can digest, a concept of Brahman, and then there's diversity of concepts of Brahman. But the Shankaracharya brand is most common. Mayavada brand. The form of Krishna is Maya. And the form of the demigods is Maya. The form of anything is Maya. And all there is Brahman. Brahman Satya Jagat Mithya. That's like, hook, line, and sinker. That's, they've been exposed to, maybe not assimilated, because there's no such thing. There's no such thing. But, you hold the concept there's no such thing, and that's it. So, therefore, Prabhupada, didn't restrict himself. Or, he went out after the misconception of impersonalism and voidism again and again. And, and there's not as many, but the people that are interested in Buddhism, they don't really know what Buddhism is. They don't really know what Buddhism is. They don't really know what Buddhism is. Some think they know, and there are different brands of people who think they know, but they don't really know what Buddhism is. And, some elements, like the ahimsa element. But, the concept of the Supreme, try it. Ask them to define. So when you meet somebody that says they're Buddhist, ask them to define. What's the highest truth in Buddhism? What is it? Ooh. It's not clear. It's not clear because it's not. To define that which is not clear or is not is just a tough order. But but it's popular. And what's popular about it? Either impersonal avoidism, it's avoiding aversion to the personal feature. So there's like an allergy to the personal feature. And there's different things that people say or feel. It's imagination or it's something. It's a tool to get you to the place of impersonalism. That's kind of common. So they nod their head and but then ask them what that impersonalism is. What's the goal? You get in your car and you turn on your GPS and you put a destination in. What's the destination? The spiritual destination. And the more it's defined, like these verses, the meditation upon, it's very well defined. And how do people take it? Not as it is, commonly. And to find a yogi that actually takes it as it is. They're meditating on the form of Paramatma as it is, as these descriptions. And flowers with bumblebees and the color of his eyes like this, the color of his dhoti like that, his smile in this way. So, it's poetic, and that, anyway, to find someone who's an actual practitioner of what's being described here, we mentioned this yesterday, but we'll mention it again. This is Kapila's instructions on devotional service. It's not Kapila's instructions on Dhyan Yoga. Therefore, this kind of dhyan or meditation upon is meant to bring one to bhakti. It's a subset. If done properly, it's a subset of bhakti. It's not an end unto itself. So that the mind can become attracted to the actual form of the Supreme Lord. The description of the actual form of the Supreme Lord is given by Kapila. And the yogis there's unmixed bhakti and there's mixed bhakti. Yoga Mishra Bhakti, Jnana Mishra Bhakti, Karma Mishra Bhakti. It's mixed. But then one may, because of propensities, go for one or the other because of propensity. And then depending upon the teacher and the teaching, what's the goal, then one can go beyond the covering or beyond the mix to unmixed. And certainly that's Kapila. So he's speaking to his mother. She's not an Ashtanga yogi. But he's describing that process. And it is a stage of realization. It's within Lord Brahma's prayers. Since I covered it, I'm a little bit familiar with his prayers. There's a stage of mixed devotion, or Yoga Mishra Bhakti, where one has factual realization. One has factual realization of the effulgence. One may have factual realization of Paramatma feature. But either of those, they don't have the, this is from that verse of the Krita Punya Punja, the amazing good fortune of the cowherd boys, or for that matter, any of the residents of Vrindavan, but particularly the cowherd boys, they're just playing with him. The object that the yogi is meditating upon, or the glaring effulgence that the Brahma Sukha fellows experience, neither of them or any of the other persons mentioned have the good fortune of playing with the Supreme Lord, being in His personal presence. So the process of dhyan may, in the mature stage, may result in the form of the Lord appears in the heart. And that must be very startling. It's not just, a practice, but He appears in the heart. Now, what's the impetus for Him to appear in the heart? As opposed to meditating notionally, or according to a scriptural injunction, like this is a scriptural injunction. And persons that are faithful, they follow the scriptural injunction. But it's not onto everyone, but onto all yogis that follow scriptural injunctions, the Supreme Lord appears in their heart. He may. And sometimes He does, and sometimes He doesn't. So what's the prompt that induces the Supreme Lord to decide, let me appear? That's a nice topic. It's a very nice topic. In Bhakti Sandarbha, the topic is covered thoroughly. Like so thoroughly, it makes your head spin how thoroughly it's covered. But in essence, it's we mentioned it yesterday, the Shakti of the Supreme Lord acknowledges this person is not just a notional person they want. And so she gives her endorsement, she sends a text message to Krishna, and Krishna shows Himself. And there are devotees that can have that experience, that do have that experience, and they describe that experience. And sometimes not just within the heart, but before the eyes of that person. Like, let's take this one example. Srila Prabhupada crossing the ocean in the Jaladuta, and Krishna appeared and placed His hand on Prabhupada's chest and reassured him. He wasn't Prabhupada telling a story. Krishna appeared and reassured him. So he carried on. He carried on. Because he had a mission with no other motivation. And challenge and difficulty sanctioned by Krishna, at the same time Krishna appearing before him. And so forth, without going into other really wonderful examples. The Supreme Lord can appear. He doesn't always, but He can appear. He can appear within the heart, He can appear to the eye. He can do whatever He likes. Then how do you qualify for that? You please Radharani, you gain the favor of His Swarup Shakti, because there are different forms of the Lord, and in the Swarup Shakti, when she gives the nod, that's it. And she doesn't give the nod, keep going. Patiently persevere. And it shouldn't be so hard, the tender-hearted Radharani shouldn't be so hard to please the tender-hearted Radharani. However, there's too many other things cluttered in our heart. And so we may busy ourselves with uncluttering our cluttered heart and lose sight of what all that is for, and how does clutter get there? How does it get removed? So, being very focused on the bhakti process is that the agency, the potency of Krishna is pleased, and she gives the signal. Now, Krishna is not dependent; just they work together. The energy and the energetic, they work together. That's the system. It's a nice system. Somebody may like another system, but that's the system. And how to please Srimati Radharani? Then those who are absorbed in her and want to please her. So he has her entourage and so forth and so on, expands out. Persons who are attached to that sangha. Life can be, that there's details. Life is very simple. Just, there's our founder Acharya. See how he's gently smiling. Do what you can do. So he acknowledges. You really want to be seeing his mission fulfilled, his happiness is achieved. It's not so difficult. Just there's other things that are attracting us and distracting us. Too many. At different stages of life, different ones. And Maya is very expert. She knows exactly, because she's the external manifestation or shadow manifestation of Yogamaya. So she knows where our affinities are, and then there she is, accommodating our affinities. It's like a tar baby. Once you touch a tar baby, how do you get rid of the tar on your hand? You use your other hand. And the other hand now has tar on it too. What do you do when there's affinity? So sadhana with the proper goal. And so this is it. Kapila Deva is giving this means to achieve it by the description of the form of the personality of Godhead, who the yogi, devotee, can fix their mind upon, as opposed to nirvishesha sunyavadi. The generic brand of those two. Just stay close to Prabhupada, and those two get dismissed. And then when those two are dismissed, what's left? And if by the hearing process, Shrutigatam Tanavan Manobir, by the hearing process, Shinvatasva Kata Krishna, Punya Shravana Kirtana, Hridyantaksto Yabhadrani, Vidhunoti Suritsatam. It's somehow by the spiritual potency of that process of hearing topics in relation to Krishna, they awaken. Our dormant Krishna consciousness becomes awakened. Like the sleeping man hearing someone saying, "Wake up, wake up." Huh? Jeev jago, Gora Chandra bole. Thank you all for coming. Nice. Srimad Bhagavatam is very nice. This evening we'll begin, a different focus. But the essence is the same. The essence is focusing the mind on hearing transcendental messages. This evening is not just Srimad Bhagavatam, it's the holy name. And following the holy name, everything else. Let's see if there's some discussion. Yes?
Two questions that I think are related, Maharaj. The form, the Lord Jiva Goswami explains that as we enter into and more accomplished in our practice of japa, that from the name, the form is revealed to us. And then from the form, qualities, pastimes. And in this section, we're hearing from Kapila Dev that he is explicitly suggesting how to meditate on the form to his mother. So in our practice of japa, we don't do that. We just enter into the sound, or try our best to hear the sound, allow that to enter into our heart, and let Radha Krishna do their magic in time, and how they wish to reveal that form to us. That's my understanding. And how would we as sadhakas look at this section and let's say we're attracted to something like this? Should we even consider applying this kind of meditation?
The answer to this question is, it depends. It depends on the stage of spiritual evolution, or where one is on their awareness and heightened focus on regaining the kingdom of God, or their lost position. So it depends. If it's some persons, that's just fantastic. Now, should we? Depends. If it takes one's attention away from hearing the name, then it's not for us. However, for some persons it may augment paying attention to hearing the sound. So the sound is what? So that may help some persons that are accomplished in dhyan. The what? Okay.
The other question I was thinking about, Maharaj, is that he specifically, the Lord has so many forms.
Yeah.
And he didn't necessarily ask Devahuti,
which is your
form are you
favorite?
attracted to? And let me describe that one. He just kind of expressing one of the forms of the Lord.
That's okay. That's no problem. He's not presenting an encyclopedia. There are multiple forms, and then that can be addressed at a different time in a different way. So why he's choosing this particular form and instead of so many other forms, you have to ask him, or he understands his mother, and he's taking her by the hand and taking her on a journey of pure devotional service in a manner that suits her, in her time, in her place, in her personality, and we respect. He knows her and she knows him, and he's doing what's best for her. Is this appropriate for us? Depends.
Ishvara Pranidhana within Patanjali's Yoga Sutra.
Yeah.
It appears to be the real hidden gem within the description of this Ashtanga Yoga. Is that a kind of, he's discussing this in the middle of so many other things, right? So is that a correct understanding? Why is it hidden in the middle?
Why is it what?
Why is that particular aspect hidden within the description of the yoga system?
Well, he's an authority, and if he understands the audience, and why, for example, in addition to the question you're asking, why do the Vedas speak in indirect terms? Saha. And describe in ways that it could be more clear. And the answer is because there are different audiences. So there's the emphasis of this, and emphasis on that, and the emphasis on the other thing within the Vedas, within the Upanishads, that are the philosophical portion of the Vedas. So, why Karma Kanda? So, I'm responding to your question similar to how the Vedas are structured. Patanjali may be emphasizing and not fully emphasizing something else because of his audience, the people of his time, etc. I don't. At the same time, embedded within Patanjali's teaching sutras, like the Vedas, the personality of Godhead is hidden. Then very expert commentators on the Vedas can find Krishna, and otherwise people aren't going to find him. So why? There's in response to your question, because people want something else, and the Vedas is a desire tree that fulfills everyone's desires, all kinds of desires. How many desires are there? And so it's not cheating, it's just acknowledging and giving truths depending upon the orientation of different individuals. At least they're looking up to the Vedas to fulfill their needs and wants. And then with the right teachers and the right maturity, etc., purification, something else can happen. Maybe. So then they have to have the right teacher. So the teacher can reveal what needs to be revealed. And the teacher will know what is this student or inquiring person capable of receiving. No, that's a good teacher. Yes. A little louder. Can you speak louder? I'm sure it's going to be better now.
When the Lord sits on the lotus of the devotee's heart, I was reminded of Narada's conversation with Vyasadeva and how he describes that he felt he could see the Lord.
People see what?
Narada, the boy Narada,
Narada could see the Lord.
Narada could see the Lord. I didn't get it at all. Narada could see the Lord, yes.
Momentarily, it was a very short experience because he says, in that ecstasy, I lost sight of the Lord and myself.
Narada, as a boy, he got darshan of the Lord. He said it was that short moment he lost sight of the Lord and of himself.
In that ecstasy, the feelings, he momentarily saw the Lord.
I need my hearing aid.
He wanted to share it. But she was just wanting to share that Narada Muni experienced a momentary
Yeah,
Lord sitting in his heart, and then when he became Narada in his future life, he experienced the Lord sitting in his heart perpetually. He was just wanting to share that.
okay. All of that's dependent upon not us. What we experience or do not. Remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness, it comes from the same source. So Narada was qualified, and the Supreme Lord decided what he decided before and then after.
A comment and a question. So
You have a strong voice, use it.
I was drawing a parallel between what you were explaining yesterday evening, where even after a year, the food of the cowherd boys had died.
Yeah,
And today, what Prabhupada is
look at this. That's an appreciation. Yeah.
the question that comes to my mind, Maharaj, is relating to how the Lord is described very specifically wearing certain colors.
Yes.
And also we hear this of other associates, that this gopi wears this color, and Radharani wears this color. And I was thinking, in comparison, when we like to dress the deities, we try to use all combinations of colors to enhance the darshan. Just wondering, in the spiritual world, it seems like a little boring. The Lord and the associates are always in the same color. I mean, I imagine that there's variety and subtlety within those shades. It's always the same color.
You know what this one is? This is a yes, that's a no, that's both yes and no. That's, Garuda's joke. There's all variety, including not between this gopi and that gopi. She's got her uniform and she's got to always wear this color, that color. There's variety. In paintings, for example, Lalita is dressed a certain way and Vishaka is dressed a certain way. And there's a reason. It's stimulation of Radharani's love for Krishna, the way that they're dressed. But it doesn't mean that they only have one color sari, or that they only have one color garment. Doesn't mean that. Because as Prabhupada says, variety is the mother of enjoyment. With rasa, there's variety. With garments, there's variety. With the spiritual world, there's variety. There may be a certain inclination in this direction or that direction, but we must understand variety is the mother of enjoyment. So there's variety. It's not static, it's dynamic. And that's the nature of prema. It's quite dynamic. And that's the spiritual world. So inclination, tendency, direction, but variety at the same time. Has to be. And it is. Someone, you have a question back there? No. Okay.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. There was a statement in the last purport about dovetailing.
About which?
Dovetailing.
Dovetailing.
And that, I'll read the exact line. When our desires to see, hear, touch, etc. are dovetailed for the satisfaction of the Supreme Lord, they are on the level of topmost perfection. So that sentence triggered a thought. When in our initial days of Krishna consciousness, we are encouraged, we are told, just add Krishna to your activity. You like to do this, just add Krishna. But somewhere along the line, that ego-centric activities have to be Krishna-centric. And otherwise, I feel like, this is now me personally speaking, I feel like I'm stuck and I'm not making any progress. So that shift has to happen. So the question is there a correct way of dovetailing so that the shift can happen? And how does the shift happen?
Yeah, the principle is under Guru Sadhu Shastra direction. I do. So we'll go back. This is a topic that I'm going to be speaking about during the weekend, but the starting point of the 9 stages of bhakti is faith. Faith in what? Well, you can give different answers, but faith in Shastra, because Shastra reveals in what? So faith in Shastra. Now, since faith is a prerequisite, then in response to your question, that's the criteria. That's where the shift comes. And so, in Madhurya Kandambini, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur makes a statement that although there's 9 stages of bhakti, there are different stages of faith. So the shift is where the faith in Shastra matures, continues to guide one's intelligence and one's heart and everything. So dovetailing is in alignment with Shastra. Now, in the beginning, there's, whatever it is, 50-50. Or something for me, something for Krishna, so I get to do this because I like this. I like to cook, or I like to dance, or I like to paint, or I like to sing, or I like to something. And through the faith is not just, I get to do what I like, but faith in what the Shastra says. So my response to your question is that in stages, with faith that what's the real objective? Love. And what's the real objective of love? Is it the happiness that one feels, and that's love? or the happiness that Krishna feels. And that's faith. So moving in that direction. That's the standard for dovetail. So go back to your question. Dovetail can be, I'm at the center. And if that's, it's just, if I'm not thinking, my present circumstance is egocentric. And, I acknowledge it, and I don't want to stay stuck there. So what do I do? So the dovetail can be a starting point. There's something I like, but you leverage to in the direction of Krishna is to be pleased, and that's bhakti. So that's what's appropriate or proper way of monitoring the dovetail principle, and based on faith in Shastra, because that's what Shastra says. So what do we know? We know selfish. That's what we know. I want. And it's about me. So to move towards bhakti is what Krishna wants. So if I've understood your question correctly, how do we guide that thing of dovetailing so that it switches from I'm at the center to Krishna's at the center? It's the principle, understanding the principle and cultivating the principle, and monitoring, knowing I'm going to slip because I have a tendency with I'm at the center. I mean, I'm pausing because it's a little bit like the nirvishesha shunyavadi. That's a tendency. Selfishness, and then to obliterate selfishness is nirvishesha shunyavadi. So those are tendencies, and no. And so moving in the direction of, instead of sense enjoyment or the abnegation of sense enjoyment, Krishna is to be pleased. His senses are rishikena rishikesha sevanam, without upadis. So moving in that direction, that's the standard for dovetail. And we have a relationship with Krishna, but we also have guides and spiritual masters and friends, and so we can ask someone that knows us well, how am I doing? Besides our own self-evaluation. And that's what sincere devotees will do from time to time, at least. Seeking some critical evaluation of how I'm doing, not just patting on the back. That's not easy to do. But it's a confidential association is able to do that. So that's how we proceed with the dovetail. In good association, people that will see things that we don't see, and the door is open for them to see things that we don't see, and we don't take offense. We say thank you. Anyone else? Srila Prabhupada ki jai.